Hi guys, this is Ashley with Love's Intuition Tarot, and I really want to talk with you about the grand plan for the Twin Flame Collective. I'm doing this video because I know there are a lot of people wondering, am I in a twin flame relationship? What is that? You know what I mean? Feel like it sounds like what I see on your videos is what I'm going through. It makes a lot of sense. If you're connecting with what goes on in my zodiac videos, I am connected to a twin flame frequency. Okay. So if you're connecting with what I'm saying for your zodiac sign, it's because you're on that same frequency as well. So you should continue watching this video so you can understand how that plays in, your zodiac video, how that plays in with this Grandmaster plan I'm about to explain to you. Because God, creator, universe, the spirits, the ancestors, whatever you call it, I say God, so please bear with me, has shared with me the grand plan, his grand plan for what's actually happening here and how that's all playing out in the stars, in astrology, and in your real life, and in the whole collective, okay? So he's explained all this to me through the tarot and intuitively over an amount of time, but he has also explained to me very clearly that I am one of the first to understand this in such a complete form. It's such a hard concept to grasp, and you have to know so much about so many things that it takes so much time, and if so, it couldn't be implanted into one brain all at once or it would explode. I don't know how to say it. But basically, what is happening is there is a grand and divine plan that is being put in motion, and it's being followed literally by astrology and by the phases of the moon and the sun and the stars, to be played out. The rules of what's happening here, the God's plan. It has to follow the laws of astrology, the laws of our world, in order to be played out. And what it is a grand and divine plan for peace and harmony amongst the whole world. I just don't even know how else to say it. Essentially, God is marrying the light and the dark together. That's why you're seeing so many empathic and narcissistic relationships. That's why you're seeing typically the masculine, but sometimes it's reversed, as the like dark side, of this. Like, imagine a yin and yang. You and your partner, you and your twin flame are a yin and yang, and one side's the white side and one side's the dark side, and they each have different lessons to learn in order to be able to marry harmoniously, okay? And the only way that this can happen is through is over time. Number one, this is the number one thing you have to remember. This stuff has to happen over time. God is teaching us how to realize different things that we need to know in order to be empresses and emperors, in order to be whole and complete versions of ourselves, so that we can be whole and complete, and not be codependent, and not be, you see what I'm saying? In order to be correctly married with our other person, there are steps that this timeline has to take, and God has shown me what they are. Essentially, he's brought together us twin flames, okay? If you, chances are you've probably already met your twin flame. Especially if you're here watching this video, it means you have a very deep connection to another person where you're like, oh my God, that's my person. I couldn't imagine being with them, no matter what, for real. We've been through so much, blah, 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 blah. And basically, I've learned that the way this timeline goes is you meet them, you feel that connection, you go through the good, you fall in love with them, and then you go through the hard stuff too. You know what I mean? I know it sounds so silly and so normal for a relationship, but there's a very specific timeline for what's happening in the twin flames, and it's happening right now. It goes through that period where everything's great, you fall in love, and things start to go wrong. You see what I'm saying? There comes a separation period into which, they talk about this runner-chaser dynamic, and when I used to read about this stuff, I never understood it completely, and I do now. You see what I'm saying? I understand it. I wouldn't necessarily call it that, I would. That's a lie. I would call it a runner chaser. Do you see what I mean? Where one energy is so in love and essentially, begging for the other back, while at the same time the other one is like running from the relationship like the plague, even though the other person is like, but I know you're my person, you should know it too, it makes no sense for you to be with anyone else or me. You see what I'm saying? And basically, for the going through all of that, you receive justice. You receive justice for all that in the end. That period of time happens, that runner chaser dynamic, which a lot of us are in right now. A lot of us are in that right now. Okay. That happens because it's a period of enlightenment for the dark side, for the side that is slower to come to these realizations. One comes to realizations and enlightenment a lot faster through this whole twin flame process, and the other is much slower, and that is the runner. They are running away from this. They don't want to accept it. And in that period of running is when God Spirit Universe is able to use astrology really to implant different scenarios into their life to bring them to the realization, wow, that is my person. I wouldn't want to be with anyone else either. They like literally take that person out of the relationship to then make them able to see, wow, I did give up on something really good. That's what I'm actually supposed to be with. That's what I actually do want. It's the enlightened, you know what I mean? It's their turn then. They're slower, they go second. And that's where we are at right now in this plan, in this grand plan. I'm intuitively told that the reunion period for the slowest of the slow comes on sorry, I lost my date, in December, the 21st of December. This seems to be very that's when there will be balance between the two. That's when there will be balance between the yin and the yang, and they'll be able to come back together. And that's when the new chapter, the death and the rebirth, starts for it's showing like the masculine, the slowest of the slow male or dark side energy to start their new chapter, their reunion period, their rebirth, where they understand. You see what I'm saying? Yes, to where they go from being like the jerk king to, or like, and it's like a reevaluation of their thoughts in love, and then they become this totally different and loving version of themselves. I don't know how else to say it, in this new chapter, and that's supposed to start on 12/21. Oh, but okay, God is also reminding me that I'm supposed to tell you guys that during that runner chaser period, what that light side, that yin side, is meant to be doing, they then receive. So it's like the dark side in that runner chaser period is meant to be focusing on, how do I become this loving person? How do I become, they overcome obstacles within their head and their thoughts. The other side of that focuses on their financial goals. They it's like flip-flopped in different goals that each side of the yin and the yang is meant to learn at the same time frame and time period. So as the masculine is learning how to be much more loving, or the dark side of this yin and yang, the light side, this would be like the empaths, the ones who already are extremely loving. Then they have to focus on, how do I have the dream life that